Hey folks, Jason here. Let's talk about cash flow in your business. Is cash flow a problem? Do you have a forecast? That's what we're going to talk about today. Do you have a forecast so that you have thought ahead about every part of the narrative of your business moving forward over the next 12 or 24 months? So, one of the best analogies that I've got for you, we're sitting in the car, looking in the rear view mirror. Okay? In that rear view mirror, those are our historical financials. What we get from reporting from our bookkeeper or accountant, our P&L, our balance sheet, income statement, these types of documents, right? Tells us what happened. While that's important, it's not nearly as important as where we're headed, because what happened has little to do with where we're going in our business. The rear view mirror is our historical financial data. How much larger is our front windshield? The front windshield is, in comparison to that rear view mirror, is probably 30 times the viewpoint, right? And why is that the case? Why isn't your rear view mirror larger? Because where you're going is infinitely more important than where you've been in your vehicle. Same is true in your business. The cash flow forecast is that front windshield viewpoint. I'll tell you, most all businesses that I speak with have not ever used a legitimate cash flow forecast. A few of them have a document or a tool that they've put together to think forward, but it's not nearly robust enough to make decisions on. And that's what this is all about, making great decisions. Forecasting and planning, it's not about the forecaster plan going according to plan, because what's going to happen? We don't know exactly what's going to happen. We can't plan the future. However, by forecasting, by using a robust cash flow tool and really working on that properly and building it out, when there are things that come out of left field in our business financially, then it simply means that we're positioned with more options when we get there. Case in point, the clients that we worked with prior to the pandemic, those businesses rebounded much more quickly than just about anyone else we saw in the marketplace. They had been working with us in their coaching program, and part of what we were working on is forecasting their cash flow so that no matter what came at us along the way, we had more options when we got there. When the pandemic hit, these clients rebounded and reaped the benefit of having forecasted and planned forward so that they were positioned for success. Where were you in the pandemic in those first 2, 3, 4 months? For most businesses, including us, for most businesses, man, where did this thing come from and how are we going to navigate it? But the speed at which you pivoted or you got creative and actually created a successful repositioning, the speed at which that happened had a large amount to do with how you were positioned ahead of the pandemic even coming. I've worked with businesses that are 6 months old. I've worked with businesses that are 40 years old, and businesses that are just getting started and that $50,000 a year revenue range. I've worked with businesses that are, between $5 and $20 million in their revenue. And most all of those businesses have never, even the larger ones, have never used a strong cash flow forecast. And that's one of the first things that we do when we're working together. We build out, sometimes, I think a minimum is a 24-month forecast. What we usually do is we'll start with a 12-month forecast, and then once we have that, our heads wrapped around that and really fleshed out, Then we'll extend it to a 24-month and think about the other activities that are going to happen to grow the business and to position the business along the way. For some larger companies, we're looking at 3 to 5 year cash flow forecasts. And of course, this is a living and breathing document. So it's not like we set a cash flow forecast in year one and we don't touch it until those 5 years are done. Of course not. Every quarter, at least, sometimes every month, but every quarter, we're looking at that cash flow forecast. Where are we in relationship to this forecast? What moves do we need to make to get back on track? Where have we found success that we didn't anticipate having success? And how can we leverage that forward to increase the timeline or to speed up the timeline of our growth in specific areas of the business? It absolutely helps with decision making. And when it comes to, I recently was talking to a business that's considering another location for their business. Before I could make a recommendation on that, we worked to build out a cash flow forecast. What does it look like over the next 24 months? Or actually, we're looking at a 3-year forecast. What does it look like over the next 36 months in your business if you do nothing as far as expansion? How can we improve what you're doing just in your own walls that you're in? What does it look like if we add that location? And once we've built that cash flow forecast thought process, then we can think about what's the best case scenario. And if things go south, if things become really challenging, what are our options? What moves are we going to make? How can we pull back articulately so that we can protect our profitability and we're not putting the overall business at risk by making this move? And if things don't go the way we plan them to go, what's plan B? What's plan C? The cash flow forecast helps guide our thought process and our decision making so that we can think about, if things don't go my way, how poorly can things go before I'm in trouble? I tell you, it's pretty powerful thinking forward with that level of clarity and that level of positioning in the business. So what I recommend you do, if you don't have a cash flow forecast, or if you don't have a cash flow forecast that you've used to really make great decisions with in the past, reach out so that we can talk about building one for your business. It gives you peace. It helps you sleep at night. And when things go sideways, because things are going to go sideways from time to time, when things go sideways, you will simply have more options, more maneuvering that you've positioned yourself to be able to do once you get to those points, those crunch points in your business. Thanks for listening in, and here's to success in your business's future.